Philip Clement isn't cutting the mustard, and that's according to Kris Boyd. Welcome back to Fog Football. It feels like someone's cutting onions though, because there've been a lot of tears at Rangers recently, rightfully so. It's just been really poor, really poor, and the last couple of days things have kind of just spiralled out of control. The Champions League exit, the Hadji situation, the Cantwell situation, the injury situation that's inevitable, Yilmaz out, the whole allocation, the fact that, Ibrox, the rumour is, well, why can't they get that old firm played by the 2nd of January? How long will the Ibrox delays go on for? Kris Boyd, he's not a happy bear. I'm not a happy bear. There's not many happy bears out there. But Rangers are much weaker than last season, is what the big man, Kris Boyd, has committed to say. And he pretty much said, I've been disappointed what's been coming out of Clement's mouth recently. And he says, but I'm sorry. That's what I say, and I quote, but I'm sorry. I'm still sick, fed up with the noises coming from Rangers recently. It's become an environment of excuses and I'm not having it. Losing yesterday against Kiev was a massive moment, sure it was, and it definitely shouldn't have been a second yellow. But let's not be kidding. Clement is talking nonsense when he says Rangers were the better team up until that point. Arguably their best period of the game when they were down to 10 men. Overall, I don't think there's many Rangers fans who left the stadium the other night who felt they were by far the better team. Sure, they would have been livid about the referee's decision, but the performance they got for Clement's team was nowhere near good enough on a night where there was so much at stake. I've been saying it for weeks now how the top teams in every country dominate the ball. I don't see that with Rangers. Clement's side are never in full control of any game of football, and here his post-match comments left me shaking my head. He talks about the improvement that's been made since he took over, but I just don't see it. For me, Rangers are weaker than they were at the end of last season, which is quite staggering. I mean, show me a player who's improved at Rangers recently. There isn't one. I just look at the whole situation there. I don't see things getting better anytime soon. In fact, mark my words, it won't be long before the supporters turn on the board and point the finger of blame at them for the way it's all going. These are Rangers fans who've put money, a lot of money, into this club. Sure, but something is going to have to give. Clement talks about a project, but do me a favour. No Rangers manager has been allowed the time for that, and he isn't going to be the first. I've got to say, I've been disappointed what's coming out of his mouth lately. When he first arrived at Rangers, I liked the way he spoke. He was straight talking, didn't even sugarcoat anything, and I admired that. The Rangers fans could relate to him because of it, but he's changed his tune. Whether he's trying to cover up for people within the club, I don't know, but something's not right. When you think back to when he first arrived, he was quite vocal about the amount of injuries in the squad, but it seems now that sports science guys are dictating who is and isn't available to play, end of quote. So, a lot to dissect there before we move a bit further into the drama that is Rangers. I agree. I think Clement was well spoken at the start. Last October, November, it was pretty much as soon as things went pear-shaped for us. I think Clement has felt the pressure. Any manager can manage when he's on top. It's how you deal with the blowback, and I think, honestly, I think his arse has collapsed. I do, and I don't want to say that about a Rangers manager, but the guy just seems to speak in riddles, doesn't make a lot of sense half the time, and as I said during my review of the Kiev game, I feel like the Yefty red card has almost gave Clement and this Rangers board a get out of jail free card, because we weren't good. I'm not going to say that Kiev were far the better team. There wasn't really much in it, right? It was a poor game between two pretty poor sides. But, it looks better for Clement to us to lose due to that decision, rather than if we went ahead and lost 2-0 pushing for the win late on 11v11. And I think for that, what is it? What is the end game for Rangers, honestly? The board's a mess, they need to go, but it's not easy to get rid of a board. As for Clement, here, I said a couple of weeks ago when they gave him that contract extension, it was an absolute fucking ridiculous decision to give him a contract extension. It looks like right now that we are going to have to give the guy more money to sack him. And the rumours were, oh well, they had to give him the extension, he was threatening to walk. You know what? I'd have let him walk, because honestly, why go down this? We have seen this sad song before, troops. All right, Clement is going to get sacked in October, November time. We can all talk about projects, we can all talk about that. If we are double points behind Celtic, if we are getting scudded in Europa League games, if we're at the League Cup, for example, this guy doesn't have a fucking hope in hell of keeping his job. And all we've done by signing a contract extension is have to agree to pay more money. The club is being run into the ground for the second time in the the near past. It's sad. It's honestly tragic. Anyway, let's see what he said later on. I wonder when Clement loses his job, will Tom Taylor follow him at the door? I don't think so. Listen, I get in the modern game that the advice in that area can be fireable. Managers have to listen to these guys, sure, but it's baffling to me they get so much influence by the sounds of it. Pick the team. Some people will no doubt accuse me of being outdated and point to my physique when I played. Bring it on! But when I was very rarely injured, and I can promise you I really missed the training session. I might not have had the quickest, or been the quickest, but I managed to score over 300 career goals. If Walter Smith had listened to the sports science guys, and maybe I wouldn't have been on the pitch to do that. You know, it's a very valid point there for Boyd. Like, sports science guys shouldn't be dictating to Clement who fucking plays or not. You know, Tierney started against Motherwell. And what apparently the sports science guys like, oh, he can't start against Kiev. You know the game that fucking determines what you do this season. Nah, don't start your best player. Now again, I don't think McCausland and Yefty were horrendous options to start. You know, I think they're both better than Scott. They are better than Scott, right? I don't think. But again, I think we would rather Tierney. The point I'm making is that managers can't rely on the stats that come from wearing heart rate monitors. They need to use their own eyes, and it just grates on me when I hear come out with this stuff. Yet, he seems to be influenced by them in his decision to start the game the other night with Tierney on the bench. If the winger only had 60 minutes in his leg, there was a risk he'd need to be taken off again. If the tie went to extra time, it just made no sense. Yilmaz also has injury problems over the years. If the sports science were so good, then surely they recognise his body was fatigued to pick up the injury that he suffered. I tell you, Eat, they should be doing though. And that's making sure 6 million Danilo's ready to perform. I know he's been out for 7 months with an injury, but someone will really need to explain to him why he's not up to speed yet. Clement is trying to protect people behind the scenes with the way he's talking, but I don't like what I'm hearing from the Rangers manager right now. He's not sounding like the guy who first took charge, and I'd love to know why. I talked about this a few weeks ago when I said I feared he was about to quit. He then signed a new contract. That didn't change anything in my eyes, not in the grand scheme of things. That was done purely for perception, and only the easily influenced bought it. For me, the vast majority of sports can see right through that now, and they're utterly fed up. There were only 39,000 at Hampden the other night, and that tells me there's a large number disillusioned with the whole thing. Wait and see what the crowd is this weekend, because it could be a lot less. And of course, I think it will be. I've seen on Twitter that apparently the ticket office has confirmed there's only 14,000 seats. Now, obviously, it's Thursday, it's no Saturday, so I mean that can change. But end of the day, it's just a mess at Rangers Football Club, man. And pretty much everything that Boyd said there, I've said over the past couple of weeks. And not just me, right? I'm not going to stand on my high horse. Well, I was right about everything that this club's doing poorly. I wish I was fucking wrong. I wish my season prediction falls on its arse and we win a quadruple. But the reality is, guys, we're going to win hee-haw. The only thing, the only quad we are going to get is all our fucking injury-prone players pulling their quads because we're shite. But yeah, that's it. Philip, come on. What is going on?